Boom, welcome back to PokeMarketLab, everyone. We're going to look at some Sword and Shield products that I think you should consider picking up before it's too late. These are awesome long-term holds. So if that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned and welcome to PokeMarketLab. All right, before we get into it, if you're new to the channel here, welcome. And we are a Pokemon focused channel that looks at the finance and collecting side of Pokemon, and we try to help you get more for your money or maximize your money. We're going to do a look here back at Sword and Shield today. We have some unique products here, not unique products, unique opportunity to get some products here before they start to run up in price. One of my favorite things to do that's getting harder to do with this bull market is to try to snag products that maybe are not at their cheapest, but are right in the cusp of kind of doing that next leg up in growth. And these are typically products that are 2 to 3 years old, sometimes even closer to 4 years old, where yes, they're not the cheapest they've ever been, but they're about to run up. They're getting very scarce. So just a couple boxes here I wanted to show, and the theme really here is ETBs. So if you're not aware, the booster boxes from the Sword and Shield era are quite expensive. There's very little in the way of what I would call cheap booster boxes at this point from Sword and Shield. So if you're curious about the Sword and Shield era, maybe you're new to the collecting or investing side of things here in Pokemon, and you're more used to the Scarlet and Violet era, I urge you to go back and look at Sword and Shield. I was kind of the same way when I came into the Sword and Shield era. I was very just focused on that era, didn't really go back and look at the previous eras, and I urge you to do so. Some really good cards there. There's some really good opportunity and future growth opportunity. And from what I can tell, Scarlet and Violet, there's no reason that we can't assume that Scarlet and Violet will be far more printed than Sword and Shield. So there's definitely some opportunity here in terms of scarcity, or future scarcity, I should say. One thing to keep in mind with Sword and Shield ETBs is they were pretty heavily printed. I don't know, we don't really, you know, the gap in comparison, the gap in numbers between Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet, we can't tell whether Sword and Shield was printed more than Scarlet and Violet, which is there's such different eras. But suffice to say, some of these products for a long period of time were cheap. Lost Origin here on the screen. This was a $20 booster box on Black Friday just this last November. So just something to keep in mind, that I think some ETBs from the Sword and Shield era were pretty heavily printed. But that also means, because of that, you know, we've had some pretty affordable ETBs, and still in some way, shape, and form are sort of affordable here. Look at Lost Origin. We'll start here. Might as well get into it. A $93 ETB. Remember, these only have 8 packs, and they don't have the same promo that we see in the Scarlet and Violet era. So it's really just packs. It's packs versus, there's nothing special about it other than the entry point. And that's really what we're going to talk about today, is an entry point on a $93 ETB versus a $380 approaching $400 booster box. So for the price of one of these Lost Origin booster boxes, you could get multiple ETBs from different sets and get some exposure to multiple sets within the Sword and Shield era. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing. They're going back, they're picking up an ETB from each. These display extremely well. The per pack price, you are going to pay a premium on the per pack price versus the booster box for a good number, for most of what we're going to look at today. But the entry point is what's lower. So you can go and for the price of one Lost Origin box, you can get almost one of every of the ETBs we're going to talk about today. Closer to probably 500 to get one of all of them, but for that you get a lot of exposure to a lot of different sets. These store extremely well. I think, you know, I've talked about this before. The nostalgia play on ETBs, do not discount that. Us as collectors and investors who live and breathe this stuff every day, booster boxes are the creme de la creme. There is nothing better. But the vast majority of kids and teenagers and parents who buy Pokemon for their kids, and just the regular people who are kind of in and out of the hobby all the time, the transients, right? They get exposed, especially in the Sword and Shield era, to ETBs. That's the quick pickup. That's at their LGS or Target or GameStop or wherever they happen to be. That's their way that they get product into their hands. So from a nostalgia standpoint, 5 to 10 years down the road, especially for Sword and Shield, they're going to think back to these, not the booster boxes. They're going to think back to this. And if they want a piece of that history, they want a piece of a memory that they had opening product with their kids, opening product with their friends at the table, it's going to be ETBs. I already have nostalgia and fond memories of open Crown Zenith ETBs. That's why I have tons of them, because I love them. So don't discount that as a that nostalgia factor. It's there's no data on it. This is just a theory, but I think it's a solid theory. So again, lots of these printed. I think though, remember, ETBs are opened. People grab them, they open them. There's just certainly lots of people putting them away. But if you're a collector and you're putting these away, why aren't you getting booster boxes? From a pack per inch square standpoint, booster boxes are absolutely the way to go. So these really, are there thousands of these sitting in closets, or more, most of these ripped? We don't know, but just something I want you to think about. And looking at Lost Origin, fantastic set. And yes, again, that is almost $100 box, but that's much cheaper than getting into the booster box at this point. So beautiful, beautiful set. I just did a video on this recently. Excellent set. I'm not going to go through every single card here, but just a gorgeous set. And then I want to go on to Chilling Reign. This is another one. These were at Target as little as 6 months ago for under 40 bucks. And there's not a lot of these listed on TCG Player. We did not see, you know, Lost Origin in the last 3 months. We've seen Lost Origin ETBs a ton sell here. Not seeing that on Chilling Reign. The depth of the market and the number sold is extremely, extremely low. There are 2 of these. We have 2 different versions here, but this I think is still a steal. This has been sitting about $80 for a while now. I think this is an absolute, again, for the price of one booster box of Chilling Reign, you could get a bunch of these. Maybe that doesn't make sense because of the per pack price, but get an ETB from a bunch of different sets. Chilling Reign, phenomenal set. You get that Blaziken there. One of my favorite cards in my collection, the Galarian Slowking. Beautiful artwork. We have the Galarian Gallery here, and just tons of cards, even down to the cheaper cards here that just look beautiful. Look at that Moltres. Fantastic set. So again, I urge you, if you're looking to go back to Sword and Shield and pick up product, you have not been priced out yet. There are Scarlet and Violet ETBs, current Scarlet and Violet ETBs, that are more expensive than this. Obsidian Flames has been out of far less than this and is still a reprint risk. That's the big thing here. These are not Chilling. No one is going, the Pokemon Company is not going back to reprint Chilling Reign ETBs. These are safe. Obsidian Flames, far less so. So again, if you like this era, this is a fantastic buy. Brilliant Stars, another one, sub $90, sub $100 here. These were $40 on Target not long ago. Not as strong as the other sets we just talked about, but still some really good cards. One of my favorite cards is Mimikyu VMAX here. Charizard. We do not get, you know, especially we're currently with Journey Together and Destined Rivals, we're not getting that big bad Pokemon fighting other Pokemon cards in the Scarlet and Violet era like we did in Sword and Shield. I hope we get back to that in the Scarlet and Violet era and future eras, but just a unique artwork time here in the Sword and Shield era. So some beautiful cards here. We even got some evolutions. Again, a little less, you know, in terms of value as we go down to cheaper cards. Ushu VMAX here is a beautiful card. So again, I urge you, get out of the Scarlet and Violet mindset. Look where others aren't looking. Look at Sword and Shield. There's some really good opportunity here that already has some age. They're not cheap, but nothing in Scarlet and Violet is either. So why not look at stuff that has some age on it already that's ready to pop? Silver Tempest, another phenomenal set. One of my favorite sets, just because it was really a bookend set. It is the bookend set of the Sword and Shield era. These were, man, not long ago, you could not give these away. You literally couldn't give them away. They were selling for 20, 25 bucks. And now look at here, you got 70 bucks. Actually, one cheap. That's an interesting one. That could be cheap. Could be a buy after this video. We'll see. 70 bucks here, $73 for an ETB. Again, you can get a couple of these and a couple of the other ones listed here. And just a good set. Again, not quite as good as those other sets, but that Lugia is phenomenal at that top spot. Even that Rayquaza in that second place spot. Really, really beautiful looking cards. This Lugia is just phenomenal. Again, it's not quite as strong as we get to the cheaper cards here. But certainly this top 10 spot, there's a lot to love here. Get another Blaziken VMAX here, 2 Blazikens. And again, that Rayquaza is beautiful. So, and then on to Astral Radiance. Again, kind of going down the tier of quality here. Still a solid set. This is probably the set, right? I would tier this probably right before it really starts to drop off and my interest kind of drops off. But it's a cheap ETB. I think this ETB is it's priced correctly for the set that it contains. Again, for 75 bucks, you could do a lot worse. You could get one of these, you could get a Brilliant Stars, you could get a Silver Tempest and a Chilling Reign for the less than the price of any of these booster boxes. A $270 booster box for Astral Radiance. So, and these just display, the artwork on these ETBs just displays so much better than that sealed booster box. They physically store and stack better. You have to be extremely careful stacking booster boxes. I don't do it, and if I do it, I shelve them, so it's literally a shelf above each booster box, or obviously if you have cases, if you can put them in boxes and then stack the boxes. But it's a fantastic buy at this price. Again, not as high quality here as some of the other sets, but that's Starmie. You get Starmie and then Misty there. Beautiful. You get a Garchomp here. We're seeing a Garchomp coming up, and Cynthia's Garchomp coming up in Destined Rivals. You have another Moltres here. Dialga, Machamp at the top there. Some beautiful cards. Again, not as strong as some of the other ones here, but again, I think the price is appropriate for this ETB. So that brings us to the end of the video, and just as a recap, I think this is a great option. I think people are doing this. I think this is a thing. We've seen some run-ups in some of these prices here, but I don't think you're priced out personally. Again, compared to the booster boxes, the amount that you can get for the price of one booster box, and again, get upward exposure to all these sets. And this is a fantastic era, even if you're recent and you're new to the Scarlet and Violet era. Do not discount the Sword and Shield era. The artwork's different. It's a different artwork style. I think Scarlet and Violet is ahead in that regard, but there's still lots and lots to love. And this is a COVID era. It is the COVID era, right? There's a ton of people that have extreme nostalgia for this era already. It was beloved at the time. It was printed heavier than any other era. It's a fantastic thing to look at, get a piece of history, and make sure you have some exposure to some of these sets before they run up again. So that's it for today at PokeMarketLab. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. If anyone wants a free sticker, I always offer this. I don't usually get many people to take me up on it, but hit me up at PokeMarketLab@gmail.com. That's PokeMarketLab@gmail.com. We get a sticker in the mail for you, no cost to you. And with that, we will see you on the next one. PokeMarketLab out.